What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 230, and today we are returning with the season finale as our 10th season wraps up today with our first ever Champions League final of the series, as it's an all-English affair as Pep Guardiola's Manchester City will take on Sheffield United. Both teams beat German sides to get here, Man City beating Wolfsburg by 3-0 over 2 legs, and we beat Bayern Munich by 4-1 over 2 legs. And as you see to the path to the final here, of course, our three former teams were knocked out in the round of 16 and the quarter-final stages, as we do have the all-English affair as I go in search of my first ever Champions League in my first ever final. Come on, Sheffield United, let's pull it off today. So we're going to dive straight into the game today. As you guys know, in these episodes I ramble on for like 5, 6, 7 minutes before the actual kickoff. So at the bottom of the screen right now, if you want to avoid the chat, then feel free to skip to the time where the kickoff begins. But of course, today's episode will be a live Q&A. I want to say thank you to everyone that's given me comments and questions for the episode. Where are we playing today? Where are we playing? It's going to be, oh, he's at the Metropolitano, my former ground at Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone that's been asking me questions. I get my questions from Twitter. You can follow me at DocLanders. I always recommend you guys follow me. I don't tweet like 50 times a day, and I'm pretty active on there as well. So thank you to everyone that has been asking me questions. We'll set the half length to 8 minutes, as I'm anticipating a cracking game for this one. And as I set my lineup for the game, am I going to make any last minute alterations? I feel like Wilson should start, since he's our second highest scorer in Europe, but Tony has been the star. It'll be hard to drop Tony for the Champions League final, but it'll just be hard not to play Brett Wilson, considering his goals have helped us get here. Oh, this is such a big decision, man. Yes, I'm going to play Wilson. I think Tony's now got to embrace his role as a squad striker here. I'm going to play Brett Wilson up top instead. And Tyler Adams been good in Europe too, so I'll start him ahead of Pierre Rocher. Or do you know what I could do? Do you know what I could do? I'm just thinking, possibly. No. Surely. Tony, captain for the first time ever in the grand final. Is it about physicality, the goals that Wilson scored, or do we go with the shocker leading the team out? Yeah, let's do it. Come on, this is like an old school doc save, so why not? The legend always wears the captains in the Champions League final, so this save is going to be no different. Tony wearing the captain's armband. You got to love it. But yeah, I've got my questions from Twitter. Once again, thank you to everyone that has been asking me questions on Twitter. I really appreciate it. But before we do start today's episode, there are a couple of things I want to share with you guys before we get to kickoff. And I want to discuss them real briefly before I get to live Q&A. Now, first things first, a few of you guys have been asking me in the comment section of late about a Patreon. Now, a few weeks ago, I discussed the fact that as YouTubers, we are not really earning that much money at the moment because ad revenue is basically, your CPM right now is at an all-time low. It's at like a historic low, the worst since like January 2013, like over 7 years. You know, we're barely getting paid anything right now. And to tell you the honest truth, I am not earning enough right now to pay my bills, and I always said that I would only ever start a Patreon if I actually physically need it. And right now, I physically do. I can't afford to pay my bills, so I have set up a Patreon, and I'm going to upload a special one-off video about this next week. I don't know when. But I have set up a Patreon, and I want you guys to know I haven't taken this decision lightly. It took a lot of consideration, it took a lot of thought. But unfortunately, I can't afford to pay my bills anymore, and therefore I need your help if I'm going to continue doing this. So I've set up a Patreon. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below. And again, I'll have a special video in the week where I discuss it in detail as well. I know, you know, throughout all my 9 years on YouTube, I've never asked you guys for anything other than a like or a comment, but unfortunately the time has come now where, simply put, I need your financial support if I'm going to continue doing this. So I'll leave a link to the Patreon in the description down below. I don't expect you guys to donate straight away. I'm going to, again, have a special video in the week where I'll discuss it in more detail. But yeah, I just want to make you guys aware before I drop the video in the next few days. Now, the second thing I want to tell you guys about is something I was debating whether to keep a secret or not. I have of late had a few comments from some people saying you've been a bit flat in your commentaries, particularly in career mode and in some FM episodes as well. And I want to explain something that's been going on in my personal life of late. A few weeks ago, my dad was admitted to hospital. They thought he had a stroke. It turns out he had a tumour in his brain, and unfortunately it was the size of a fist. Just make a fist right now and imagine that in your head. That's the size of the tumour. He had a tumour, and they've managed to remove it, thankfully. The surgery was like 9 hours and it was successful. But we've just had some biopsy results, and unfortunately my dad has also got cancer. He's got primary and secondary cancer. I must say I'm not a medical person at all, if you can tell by now, so I don't know as much about it as I probably should, but yeah, he's got secondary cancer. The secondary is the tumour, and the primary is in his colon. He's very, very delirious. He's very confused. He doesn't really know what's going on. He seems to think he's had the coronavirus, whereas he hasn't. It's just been the tumour and the cancer. He doesn't know what's going on. He's basically very delirious. He's making no sense at all, really. He's very confused. And yeah, it looks like he's going to need 24-hour care as well. He can't go to the bathroom by himself. He's just in a very, very, very bad way at the moment. And I didn't know if I was going to talk about it on YouTube or not. I do occasionally discuss personal things, but a lot of the things I'll keep to myself nowadays. But yeah, I hope to actually explain why in recent weeks I've not exactly been as enthusiastic as I would like to be. I've had a lot of things to deal with, particularly this, and it's just a very tough time right now. Not just with the financial burden of having to pay bills, but not really earning enough for YouTube to do that, but also with the stuff going on with my dad. He's going to need 24-hour care. We might need to provide some funding for it. It's just a very tough time at the moment. So yeah, I want to say sorry if I've not been as good as I possibly could have been in my commentaries. But hopefully you guys understand why it's been a tough time right now. And yeah, my dad is really, really struggling. As Roche releases Harris, and we could have an early chance here. As Harris is taken down. Oh, penalty! 2 minutes in, Pedro Porro dives in. It's a booking for the Spaniard. Harris having some words, and a chance for Sheffield United 2 minutes into the Champions League final to go a goal up from the spot. Harris taken down, certain penalty, no doubt about it, and a chance for us to take the lead 2 minutes into our first ever Champions League final. Barry, no, it's Tyler Allen who's standing up to take it. But I've got to give it to Tony, don't I? I've got to give it to Tony, but I don't feel confident. I'm going to go to Edison's left and our right. Oh my word, what a start this could be. Oh! Yes! What a start! Manchester City behind. Tony celebrates with me. Oh, get out of the way, Roche. I want to see him celebrating with me. The blades in front. What a start. Oh, my word. Tony sends Edison the wrong way. Gives him the eyes. Captain for the Champions League final. Blades in front. Oh, my word. What a beginning. So, on the back of that, let's get to the live Q&A. In the Champions League final, where Sheffield United have scored inside the first 3 minutes, courtesy of Ivan the Shocker Tony. You couldn't make this up. So let's begin the Q&A, and the first one's going to come from my good friend El, who says, when are you going to return to El De Niro's podcast, The Midnight Hour? I'm still waiting for the invite. we need to discuss a podcast topic, because the last one I think was appropriately named Tangent Rivers. We went on so many tangents, I lost track of what the original topic was. But yeah, I'm hopeful soon we'll collaborate once again for another episode. I really enjoyed the episode we made together. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you having me on, man. So yeah, hopefully sometime soon we'll have another episode. It'll be a lot of fun, I'm sure. And the next question is going to come from Reese, as Harris is at the far post and Edison did well to palm it away. And Reese says, what was your favourite memory of YouTube so far? My favourite memory of YouTube would definitely be the day I received my £100,000. £100,000, I wish it was £100,000, but the award to me is worth more than that. It was the day I received my 100,000 subscriber YouTube plaque. Ever since I learned of the award, I really wanted it. I just wanted something to show for all the work I'd put in setting my channel up, starting it from the ground up, and managing to build an audience, and a supportive audience as well, and most importantly doing it my way too. I was very clear, even since the early days, I wanted to do things my way on YouTube and sort of set my own trends, if you will. And to build an audience of 100,000 people And like I always say, you know, I've got one of the most supportive fan bases out there. I never like to use the word fan, but I've got one of the most supportive audiences out there, man. And I was so happy when that plaque came in the post. It meant the world to me. And you know, since then, of course, double my subscriber count. I'm so grateful for every new viewer that's come in since then. But yeah, the day I got my 100,000 subscriber plaque was an amazing feeling. I'll never forget it, and it's my favourite thing I own. Of course, in terms of its actual financial value, I don't think I could get any money for it, if you will, if I needed to pawn it, if I fell on hard times or whatever, which at the moment is looking quite likely. But it's not about that. It's what the plaque represents. You know, all the hard work, all the grind, all the nights where I stayed up all night editing, all the times where I could have gone out with my friends partying or done whatever, but decided to keep making videos for you guys and just, you know, do as much as I can and the best I can. It was all worth it when I finally received that plaque, and I was just overjoyed to get it. So yeah, without question, my favourite YouTube memory when I hit 100,000 subscribers and when I received that plaque. It's the most important thing to me in the world. I'll cherish it until the day I die. Next question comes from Josh, which I'll get to in just a moment, as Reece James loses possession and Phil Foden looking for space, dispossessed by Rocher, and oh, a chance for a break. Oh, you know I was looking for him on the two-man break. I should have kept going with Elliott. Tony's not got the pace nowadays. I should have kept going. Being a bit greedy there, my bad. But Josh says to me, what would you prefer? Oh, this is a great question. I read this earlier. What would you prefer? Scoring a last-minute winner in front of the home crowd or the away crowd? At home, you get the atmosphere. Away, you get the satisfaction of shocking everyone. Great question because, you know, I've been to many away days where Millwall have nicked it late on. As I've said before, my favourite football memory is our 3-2 victory against Bury when we came back from 2-0 down to win it in the final seconds. But I always feel like, you know, winning a game or winning a tie at home must be the most amazing feeling ever in the final few seconds. Obviously, I know I'm talking about basketball here and not football, but you think about, for my basketball fans out there, Kawhi Leonard's Game 7 buzzer-beating jumper against Philadelphia last season. The reaction from the Toronto crowd when it hung on the rim for like what seemed like an eternity. It seemed like it bounced on the rim about 20 times for about 4 minutes, but eventually dropped in. And the crowd reaction, and you know, one of my favourite buzzer beaters is probably Kobe Bryant's game winner against the Suns. LeBron James obviously had quite a few playoff buzzer beaters in the 2018 playoffs against Toronto, against Indiana. Amazing experiences, I'm sure, if you're in the home end for that, and also in football as well. The one last minute winner or stoppage time winner that always comes to mind when I think about a last minute game winning goal is always, and I don't know why this one always comes to mind, but it's Michael Owen's game winner for Manchester United. What a bizarre time this was, where Manchester City were just sort of establishing themselves as you know, a rich club. They just had to take over a couple of years ago. It was during the era where they'd signed players like Carlos Tevez, you know, Wayne Bridge, Shea Given. It was around that time, and I think it was 2008, 2009, around then. And it was the 4-3, perhaps one of the best Manchester derbies of all time, where Michael Owen, what a crazy period this was, scored the last minute winner in like the 96th minute, and Old Trafford just went absolutely crazy. It's Tyler Allen scuffs the shot and fires it way over. Yeah, I definitely say winning it at home. You know, winning it away, of course, does stun everyone. It must be an amazing experience for those travelling fans. But I think winning it at home in front of, again, like, you know, 50,000, 60,000 fans, whatever. Imagine that feeling you would get from seeing so many people overjoyed through one moment in time that you've just produced. It would be an extraordinary feeling. And yeah, I'd say that. It's a lovely build up here, isn't it? As Harris finds Tony, and Tony just couldn't turn as City get it clear. Next question comes from Norwich City Central. He says, favourite FIFA save? There's just too many amazing ones that we've produced over the years together. I couldn't just pick one. I mean, you know, again, as I always say when I ask this question, ask me on a different day and I'll give you a different answer. You know, today it could be my West Bromwich Albion PSG Arsenal save. Ask me tomorrow, it could be this one. You know, it depends on what day it is. It depends on how I'm feeling, you know. I can never answer the question. As Sam Hill makes a brilliant save there to deny Leroy Sané. We just produced so many great ones together, and I couldn't pick just one out of all the amazing ones we've had. Jack N says, top 3 games you've seen live. I would probably say, as I always say, my favourite game ever was the Bury 2 Millwall 3 game. But I would also say, oh, Bogle off the line. as City are now starting to press and push for an equaliser. Nicholas Saul's got space, shot blocked, and Shaw under pressure should clear, and Sam will do so as well. But also, even though we lost this game, I always remember our 3-2 defeat to Scunthorpe in the League One playoff final back in 2009, I think it was. I know we lost the game, but it featured an amazing goal through Gary Alexander. It was a really topsy-turvy match, and I always remember that one. What other game? I'm not entirely sure. I have to think about it. I've seen so many great games over the years. I've been blessed to have gone to so many classics, but I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that. But those two always stick in my mind. A great win, my favourite game ever, and a heartbreaking defeat as well. Next question comes from Reese, who says, favourite Millwall players ever, PS, keep up the great content. I appreciate that, Reese, thank you. Favourite Millwall players ever? I'll probably say my favourite player of all time. That's tough, man, because there's so many. I probably would say Jimmy Abdu. Obviously, every Millwall fan will always have a soft spot for Jimmy Abdu. Harris, of course, just because, again, you know, from player, you know, legend, his battle with cancer, you know, joining the coaching staff, being with our youth team, you know, to becoming manager at a club, guiding us to promotion. I mean, Harris, of course, will always be one of my favourites. Tim Cahill, of course, for obvious reasons. I'll never forget the goal he scored against Sunderland in the FA Cup semi-final at Old Trafford all those years ago, back in 2004. And in recent years, I'll probably say Lee Gregory, of course, Gregors, no doubt about it. One of the best strikers I've ever seen put on a Millwall shirt in terms of his productivity and goals-to-game ratio. And I'd probably say my favourite player right now would be Jed. Absolutely love Jed Wallace, of course. He should be playing, in my opinion at least, Premier League football. So, yeah, I'd say right now Jed. There's a long list of my favourite Millwall players ever, but there's just a selection for you. There's Angus Reid, former Sheffield United man's on the ball, and just wide the post. And City are starting to come at us now. Poor start from them, but now in the final 15 minutes of the half, they've put us under a bit of pressure, and we're having to weather it right now as we close out the half. And the next question comes from Cam, one of my long-term subscribers, and he says, best possible starting lineup in the NBA right now. It's hard to judge that due to the quarantine. You know, do you go off the recent games, or, you know, recent enough games before the season was suspended, or throughout the course of the entire season? I'm not entirely sure. That's a tough one, that. I would probably go with, let's see here. I'll tell you what, I'd have Lillard running the point just because I fucking love Dame time. Bradley Beal is one of the most. I'm gonna go quite interesting with my selections here. Bradley Beal, shooting guard. He was second in scoring before the league got suspended. I've always thought Bradley Beal is one of the most underrated players in the league. LeBron small forward, Anthony Davis could be centre, and I'll tell you what, we'll move LeBron to power forward, Anthony Davis centre, and we'll have Kawhi, elite two-way player, small forward as well. Next question comes from Ben. He says, what GCSEs did you get? Look at that, 58% possession, 93% pass accuracy. We've scored the only shot on target from the spot. We've got to pick it up in the second half, otherwise City definitely find a leveller. And I am tempted to possibly give him a slight slider adjustment, possibly give him a little bit of an adjustment, an increase as well. Let's do that, shall we? Let's make him a little bit quicker. And we'll also increase their pass speed to get them moving the ball forward a bit quicker too. And we will decrease the shot error by 3 as well. And yeah, give them a little bit of a boost here too. My GCSEs weren't the best. I got 5 A to C's, 1A, and you know, unsurprisingly, that 1A came in physical education, the subject where I needed as less intelligence as possible. That's the 1A I got, obviously. I got an A in physical education, and I got 4 C's, 1 in business studies, 1 in English, 1 in biological science, and 1 in drama, I think. I know in maths, I took it was called an Allen test, it was called, which is like the equivalent of a C, but I didn't actually get it in the actual grade. I got an E as the actual grade. But yeah, I think that was my GCSEs. It was such a long time ago now, but it's, oh, bloody hell, it was over 10 years ago now. My word, where is the time gone? But yeah, those are my GCSEs, I think. But yeah, the 1A I got was in physical education, as Harris just couldn't slide through Shaw. This has not been a great final, this, has it? Despite the 8-minute halves, but I do expect this game to burst into life in this second half here, with Yari on the turn, trying to cross, but that should be Sam's, and it is. Next question comes from Aditya? I do apologise, that's a poor pronunciation of your name there. But he says, do you like Indian food? If yes, which is your favourite dish? By the way, love you docs. Love your vids, docs, sorry. Appreciate it, thank you very much, man. To be honest, I've had Indian food a grand total of about 2 times, I think. And now that I'm sort of vegetarian and sort of half vegan, I don't know what vegetarian Indian dishes I could have. But perhaps you could recommend me one. Give me a recommendation for a vegetarian Indian dish. And I'll tell you what, the next takeaway I get, I've not had many this year, I've been quite good, but the next takeaway I get, I'll make it an Indian one. And, oh, Tony, get up, son, get up. I'll get an Indian takeaway, and I'll make it vegetarian too. Oh, Tony, that's not good. Tony going down. And he stayed down as well. He might be forced off in the Champions League final. No, shocker. Is that a career-ending injury for Ivan Toney? As Kang-in Lee rolls it through to Foden. And the chance remains alive. We're down to 10 men right now. Sane tackle, but the chance not over yet. We're defending temporarily reduced. Foden, play stops. And is Toney up? Is Toney up? Bailey's coming on, former player for Sane. And yep, Tony's up for the time being. Next question comes from Stefan, and he says, thoughts on Jed Wallace not getting a team of the season? Oh, he was robbed! He was robbed! I must be honest here, I don't play Ultimate Team at all, so I don't know anything about the special cards or whatever. But yeah, Jed definitely deserves a team of the season, man. Been absolutely amazing for us this year, and one of the reasons we played so well. So yeah, robbed. I don't pay attention to Ultimate Team, but yeah, Jed definitely robbed if that's the case. I didn't know that. And next question comes from Ben. He says, what football players made you fall in love with the game? Tough one. But I love the players that have the flair for the unexpected. I would probably say one of my favourite football players to watch when I was younger was Ronaldinho. Of course, I'll never forget the goal he scored for Barcelona against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, where he just... Oh man, what year was this? 2004, 2005, about that. I'm sure some of you guys remember this goal where he just stopped the ball on the edge of the area and just sort of like flicked his foot without touching the ball and then just placed it with the outside of the boot past Petr Cech, or was it Cudicini at the time? I can't remember now. Amazing goal. And I remember when Ronaldinho went out to Brazil, and I believe he went to Flamengo initially. I remember at the time, I was about 16, 17, and I would occasionally stay up or get up in the early hours of the morning to watch Brazilian Serie A games. Just because, like I said, I was quite into Brazilian football back then. As Yari Bashir plays it back to Lee, shot blocked by Todibo, and we shall clear. And yeah, Ronaldinho, just a joy to watch. Ronaldo as well, of course. So many golden players from that Brazil team all those years ago. And yeah, those sort of players made me fall in love with the game, really, despite the fact they used to play in goal. As Bogle finds Tony, and out wide is Shaw. It'll come to Roche first. Nice build-up, Tyler's at the far post. Harris is arriving too. And Kimpembe clears. My word, it's been a really poor final, hasn't it? As we still lead by just a 1-0. And the next question comes from H, who says, how are you dealing with the lockdown and are you okay? Yeah, I'm getting on alright. As I said in the last live commentary I did, I think it was last season actually, wasn't it, in the Europa League final. I feel like I've had quite a lot of preparation for this over the years, so I've been quite well prepared for it. And do excuse me for a second whilst I get a cup of tea. Let me just have a quick drink of this. It really is feeling like an old classic Doc save when you've got the cult hero wearing the captain's armband, scoring in a Champions League final, and I'm taking a tea break as the game's going on. This really has been an old school save, hasn't it? Yeah, so I'm dealing with the lockdown okay. I must admit, I do miss more than anything NBA basketball. I can't tell you how many games I'd stick on in the background whilst I'm having a late night binge for editing and so on. So I really am missing basketball more than anything. But as for the actual quarantine... Oh, Kimpembe, I wanted Harris to squeeze that in there. As for the actual quarantine, I cannot wait to go back to the gym for starters. I'm absolutely missing that like crazy. But also the barbers, man. Like, I need a haircut like yesterday. So any time the barbers can reopen, I'm going to be the first customer in there, man. I literally can't wait. So I'm doing all right, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, it is a bit tough at the moment because again there are certain things I took for granted, you know, and I can certainly do with a haircut. I do miss the gym, and I sure as hell miss NBA basketball. Next question comes from Keith, who says, thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog? And speaking of haircuts, well, right now I look like bloody Sonic the Hedgehog. You guys should see my hair right now, seriously. It's just an absolute fucking state. As Foden on the turn, watch those finesses, Wilson makes the tackle, but danger not clear. Bloody hell, my hair is a state right now. It's gotten so long, I'm getting to a point now where I'm tying it back, but it's too long for it to be like a good top knot. It's too long for that, there's too much excess hair, but also it's not long enough for me to have like a nice high top ponytail. So it's just this really awkward stage right now where it's too long, but it's also too short, if that makes sense, to tie it up. But also, taming my hair is really tough because I've got really thick hair, and it's very hard to style it. So right now it just looks like an absolute state, and the sides of my hair are so bushy as well. One side always seems to stick out and the other side is flat. See, I look like bloody Sonic the Hedgehog myself right now. But speaking of as well, thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog, I was having a bit of a sort of quarantine clear out, if you will, and let's bring on Brett for Elliot Harris, and let's also bring on Turnbull for Tyler Allen as well. Speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog, I was having like a quarantine clear out during the week, and I found, I had some real nostalgia with this. I found, you know everyone's got like a box full of junk they had when they were like 10 years old. And every time your parents, like your mum or your dad or whatever might say, right, can I take this to the tip? Can I take this to the charity shop? And you're like, Mum, you can't throw those power pods out. You can't throw those pogs out. You can't throw my broken Game Boy Advance out. Do you know what I mean? I found in a box this Sonic the Hedgehog toy. As Tony's head goes straight at Edison. It was Knuckles. I don't know if you guys remember Knuckles, the character from Sonic the Hedgehog. Me and my brother, when we were kids, we went on a family holiday when we were like, I don't know, 8, 9 years old, to Spain. And we got these toys, and my brother got a Sonic one, I got a Knuckles one. And I don't know if I can find it. I chucked it back in the box, back in the basement. I'll see if I can find it again. But it's in the box along with like 50 billion other useless pieces of junk I don't need. But I found it the other day, and the nostalgia seeing that was crazy. I remember getting that when again I was like 8 years old. It was crazy. But anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog. Right now I look like him. It's still 1-0. What a shocking game. The only goal has come for a bloody penalty. Dear oh dear. As it's still 1-0. Is there going to be a late twist? And can City force extra time as Shaw wins a free kick? Next question comes from one of the most active subs of late, who's just got a full stop for his name. ST_2766. Buendia or Jason? Well, Buendia, of course, has been amazing through the FM save right now, but let's be honest, there's no comparison at the moment. Until Buendia kicks on, it's always going to be Jason. He's a level above Emi Buendia, and there's no denying that. And the next question comes from, good question, Chanda, who says, hold on, wait. There was a nice build-up of developing there. If I could have found Rocher, there was 3 red shirts to the right-hand side of him, but instead, it's City on the break, Wilson with the tackle, and we'll get the danger away. My goodness, what a shocking game this has been. Still the lead is just 1. But that could do it! It's over! Champions League winners! Sheffield United, captain, legend, the shocker, Ivan Toney, first final of the save, and the Champions League's in the bag. Absolutely terrible final, but Reece drives forward and Toney kisses both posts before finding the back of the net. Well, it was a big decision pre-game, Brett Wilson or Ivan Toney. Let's just say I made the right call. He's had the best chances, he's taken them. Ivan Toney is leading the Blades to their first ever Champions League final. Oh yes, get in. Chanda says, have you watched The Last Dance on Netflix and your thoughts about it? Yes, great question. I had some of you guys telling me about this documentary, and I saw posts on Reddit to the build up to it. I didn't have time to watch it when it was first released. Who should I bring on here? Should I bring on Capiche? I love Capiche, man. I'll just leave things as they are. Yeah, let's just leave things as they are actually, and not make a third sub. But yeah, I managed to get around to it a couple of days ago. I watched both episodes together, and fantastic. You know, I asked you guys about it. Has the hype been justified? And you said it has been. It definitely has been for me as well. Oh, you can see the red and white shirts raised in the background. I love it. Yeah, no doubt about it. I watched the first 2 episodes. Absolutely fantastic. Great insight to the way the balls were run. And it was Toney. I would have loved him to have got a hat-trick in the final. Sadly not, but the 2 goals should be enough. Yeah, the first 2 episodes, absolutely fantastic. Really good. Definitely worth the hype. And I've really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next one. Next one should be coming out tomorrow, right? So, yeah, looking forward to the next one. Should be... in fact, I think 2 episodes get released at once, don't they? So I think 2 episodes are coming out tomorrow. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. And I wonder how much more abuse Jerry Krause is going to get. It seems like right now he's just getting all the hate, posthumously, of course. As Brett finds Tony. This is the final chance for the hat-trick. Final chance, and the pass is behind Wilson. And that will do it. No hat-trick for the Shocker, but his 2 goals are enough. They will secure our first ever Champions League in our first ever final. It's all over. Sheffield United. Finally, after 10 years, we reached the grand final and we get the grand prize. Ivan Toney wearing the armband, leading the celebrations at 32 years old. He is still one of the world's very best. Oh, I absolutely love it. What a moment. And, you know, I said in the build-up to the game, I didn't think we'd be able to win this. I really didn't. I thought it was going to be very tough. And to be fair as well, it was quite tough. City had quite a few chances in the game. Sam made a couple of big saves. We made some big defensive plays at the back as well. But the 2 golden chances we took, courtesy of the Shocker, the early penalty and the late clincher. Sheffield United, Champions League winners. And Tony is going to lift the trophy as well for the first time in the save. How fitting it is in Season 10. He gets to lift it. Absolutely buzzing. As Nicholas walks up there too. And we'll see Tony. There he is getting the applause. Lifting it aloft. My best goal scorer ever. The Shocker. Ivan Toney and Sheffield United. Champions League winners. Absolutely love it. Not the best of finals, but the trophy in the cabinet. Our first grand final, and we win it as well. Absolutely buzzing. What a decision to start him it was in the end. Can you imagine how we started Brett Wilson in the game? No, it had to be Tony, of course. And the next question, I'll answer a few more before we end today's episode off as well, comes from Nadav, otherwise known as Simply Hamed, who says, who would you like to see win the NBA lottery every single season? I'm hoping for the Knicks, man. I've got no affiliation to the organisation, but I just want to see the Knicks get the first overall pick, man. I so badly wanted them to get Zion. In the end, I kind of like Zion at New Orleans with all the young Lakers core, and JJ Redick, always been a big fan of JJ Redick too, but I'd love to see the Knicks get the number 1 pick finally. And Ben says, what other sports do you enjoy watching? Just basketball, really. And Chris says, if Manchester United sign Sancho, can they challenge for the title? I would say they've got a long way to go before they can eventually challenge for league titles again. I still feel like Liverpool are just like a notch above right now. So even if, I mean, I've said before, Jadon Sancho is a generational talent. I'm such a huge fan of his, man. I think he's an amazing player. But they need more than just a world-class player. They need growth for their young players. Obviously, you know, James. I've been a big fan of Wan-Bissaka this year. You know, Dan James, of course, has done really well too. But they can't get too far ahead of themselves. You know, they've been rebuilding for the past few years since Ferguson, of course, retired. You know, and I still believe in Solskjaer. I do. Being at the helm there at Old Trafford. But again, I think it's a long process for them. I don't think it's about just signing one world-class player and then restoring back to the glory days. I think it's all about developing their young players. And they've got some decent young talent too. And taking it slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the races, you know. And yeah, there you go. God, I tell you what, guys, I've got to be honest here. I do apologise. It was not the best of finals, was it? It really wasn't. But the most important thing is we came through the trophy. Reece James was fantastic in this game. He really was. Didn't lose possession once. Set up the game winner too. I thought he was brilliant. Shaw was pretty decent at the back. Nicholas Wilson too was very good today. He and Tadibo were quite solid at the back. Jayden Bogle did well too. Sam made a couple of big saves, particularly in the first half, denying Leroy Sané as well. And, of course, the man of the match game winner, Ivan Toney, scoring both the goals as well. He is my man of the match. But James and Wilson put in really good shifts, as did Shaw and Walsh. But Ivan Toney, on the biggest of stages at 32 years old. What a way for him to show everyone he's still got it. Bags both of the goals. He's still elite, even at now 82 overall. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. EA, you can downgrade this guy to oblivion. I'm telling you right now. He will always get us some goals, man. He will always be elite. I'll answer a few more as well before we end today's episode off as well. I am going to have a end of season recap as always. But I'll answer a couple more questions here. Firstly, from Aiden. Oh, it doesn't look good. Sheffield United wins the Champions League. First question from Aiden here. Favourite NFL team? You know, I don't actually watch American football. I really would like to get into it. But for me, like, if I'm going to watch a sport, I feel like I need to know a lot about it. I know quite a lot about basketball, at least I like to think so, and still football as well, even though I don't watch it as much nowadays. And obviously the NFL, I don't think I'll be able to have a good enough knowledge to really, you know, follow it intensely. So I don't really have a team, but my one of my close friends supports the LA Rams. Is it the LA Rams? I think they're called. He supports the LA. I think it's the LA Rams. So I'd have to say that the Rams. And also I've got a friend in Atlanta, so the Atlanta Falcons as well. I guess I'll go with those two as the teams I'll have soft spots for. Spencer says, great question. Who was your childhood celebrity crush? Difficult one. Quite a few names spring to mind. I think probably, I mean, she's still so relevant even today. Rihanna. I was big on Rihanna as a kid. Like a lot of kids my age were very, very big on Rihanna indeed. And next question comes from Cody's gaming handle, who says, if you could have one feature back from a previous feature, what would it be? Oh, good question. One previous feature from FIFA. Do you know what I would have? I'd have the squad report. I'll get the squad report back. Yeah, definitely. In my old career mode saves, my subscribers, my long-term subscribers will tell you this. At the start of every single month, on the first of every single month, I would do a squad report. And some of you guys might have only just started playing career mode in the past 2 or 3 years. But so you might not have known what the squad report is. But basically, the squad report was like the old squad hub, if you will. Where you would have the players sort of list on one side, and on the other side, I'll try and find a screenshot for you. On the other side, you'd have all of their attributes, every single attribute, and it would be all on one page. So I could just scroll. Basically, what I could do, I'll show you now. I could just scroll down, and on the right hand side, where you see the player information screen right now, you would see all of their attributes. Since the squad hubs come in, as you can see, the attributes are shown, but they're in bunches. You have physical and mental on one side, and then goalkeeping or technical on the other. So you can go down and see them, but you can't do it all in one go, if you will. You have to keep on flicking and going side to side. But I prefer the squad report. You can just see it all in one go, all the pluses as well. And yeah, I missed the squad report very much indeed. And I'll answer a few more just before we end today's episode as well. The Champions League final. Oh, I'm so buzzing we finally won it. First from, oh mate, I've got to be honest here, I don't know how I would say your name. That's, I believe, a Russian spelling. I'm not sure how I'd pronounce that, so I do apologise here. I don't even know where I'd start with that. I can't even pronounce English surnames, let alone this one. But I'll go with your username, Holdman. He says, what is your favourite game on PS4 or PC? Oh, not related to football. I was going to say Football Manager, but if it's not related to football, I would say on PS4, I really enjoyed playing a couple of years ago, H1Z1. I was really into that. I only ever won 2 games out of 500, but I was a big fan of H1Z1. So I'd say that for PS4. And also, of course, the Call of Duty franchise as well. The Modern Warfare Remastered, spent so much time on that. And of course, my favourite COD ever was Modern Warfare 2, or perhaps Black Ops, actually thinking about it. And as for PC, do you know, I've never really been a big PC gamer outside of Football Manager. The only games I've really played on PC have been City Skylines, which I love to play, but unfortunately my Mac just can't handle it. For those who watch my Football Manager say, my Mac can't even handle the 3D match engine on Football Manager, let alone handling City Skylines as well. So I think City Skylines is great, but my Mac just couldn't really handle it. But also, I used to play a game back in the day called Age of Mythology. This is a real blaster in the past. When I was a kid, I used to play this game quite a lot. I was bloody rubbish at it, so my brother had to help me because he was really good at the game. I was terrible. But Age of Mythology, that's a real blaster in the past. I can still remember some of the Greek characters, the little the sayings they would say. Prostagma, etima. I can still remember that. Anyone that played Age of Mythology will get that reference. For those that don't, you won't understand what I mean there. But yeah, Age of Mythology was a great game. And I'll tell you what, we'll end the episode here. I am going to do a special in-depth look at the save to end the season off as well. And I must be honest here as well. I am thinking too, now that we've won the Champions League final, I'm not against ending the season here. I was planning to come back for another season, and I didn't think we were going to win the Champions League this year. I said at the start of the season, I don't think we were good enough to win the treble. We didn't win the treble, but if we were going to win 2 trophies, I thought they'd both be domestically. I didn't think we'd be able to win the Champions League and go all the way. We'd never reached a final before. We got to it, and in the end, Ivan Toney was the hero. Do you know what? It's just been thrown upon me, but I think I might end the series here. Because I don't think we can get much better than this. We've just won the Champions League, and Ivan Toney has captained us to it by scoring 2 in the final and winning us the grand prize in our first ever final. I think we might just end the series there. I think we might just end the series there. I was planning to come back for at least 1 more season, possibly 2, but I'm not against ending the season there. I think we might. Because even though I'd love to win the Premier League, and it'll be a shame to end the series without ever winning the English top flight after spending 5.5 seasons in it, I wouldn't be against ending the season there. Realistically, I don't think Ivan Toney can do much more. 7 golden boots in 8 top-tier European leagues, 31 in 35 this season in the Premier League. In the Champions League final, scoring the 2 game winners. He's been downgraded to 82 overall. He's now 33 years old. I don't want to see Ivan Toney fade away to obscurity. I want to remember Ivan Toney as we've seen him throughout the course of the save, at his peak and unstoppable. And I don't want to see him become a squad player, man. I don't want to see him fade away as my best goal scorer ever. I think we should end the series there on that massive high of win the Champions League. I really do. Tough decision, but yeah, I think we should end it there. So I think... Do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it. We're going to end the save there. I was thinking about coming back for 1 more season. I plan to at least come back for 1 more season, try and win the Premier League for the first time in the save, but I think we should end it there after Ivan Toney's man of the match Champions League winning performance as we win the grand final in my first ever one of the save. Let's end it there. Let's end the series on a massive high and not watch Toney fade away into obscurity. So that was today's episode of Career Mode, guys, and a big thank you for watching if you have enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy the save, then please drop a like. The last question I'll answer comes from Daniel. He says, will we see a new Career Mode save anytime soon? Well, yes, in that case you will. In the upcoming week, I'll begin a new save for you. I was going to begin a new save this week anyway, but now it will become the primary save. We will start a new Career Mode save this week, so keep your eyes peeled. I'm very excited to bring it to you. I've already got the work in the pipelines. I've made the thumbnail. I'm really excited to bring a new Career Mode save for you. And it'll be beginning this week, possibly even tomorrow. If not, then on Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, new Career Mode save will be coming soon. And for those of you that have watched all the way through to the end of the episode here, and the end of Season 10, the season finale, we will return, of course, with the special in-depth look at the save, which will now become one last look at the save. For those of you that watched all the way to the end, can you comment something about Toney, possibly? No, do you know what? No. In fact, instead, can you guys just comment, get well soon, Pete? My dad's name is Pete, obviously, and I mean, obviously, it'd be weird if it wasn't, if I was saying get well soon, Pete. But my dad's name is Pete, and obviously, with everything that's been going on right now, as I said, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of concern, a lot of worry. I'm very, very concerned and worried about him, and he doesn't watch my videos or anything, and right now I don't think he'd even know how to watch a video. He's very delirious. But if you guys could just leave me a comment and say get well soon, Pete, today, I'd really, really appreciate that, guys. If you made it all the way through to the end of the episode and the end of Season 10, Champions League winning performance from Toney, then please could you comment get well soon, Pete. I'd really, really appreciate that if you guys could leave those comments today if you watched all the way through to the end. Much love, guys, sincerely. Again, more details on the Patreon coming soon. More details on the new Career Mode save. That will be starting in the week. And, of course, we will return with the series finale then, which will be the one last look at the save. And that will be coming out tomorrow as well. Have a great day, guys. Much love to you all. And I can't believe we just played our final game with Sheffield United. And in my longest save in over 5 years, what a way to end it. Ivan Toney, the legend, the shocker, winning us the Champions League. Much love, guys. Get well soon, Pete. And I'll see you for the special final episode of the series very soon.